Now, our last example here, our exit ticket, is going to show us two little clever things that we'll need to learn to do or be aware of. Both of these may not be too surprising to you because we kind of alluded and introduced you to them. So we're going to factor this by grouping, which means that I want to group these terms in such a way that I can maybe look for a secondary factor. Well, this one I'm going to factor those first two. I'm going to group those first two. However, if I put a parentheses around those two terms without doing anything else, I now change the problem. You see how? Now with these parentheses here, this negative now means it's going to be distributed across both terms. Without the parentheses, that was not the case. So there I changed the problem. And now if I solve that, I'm going to solve the wrong problem. So let's go back again to our original problem. To get around that issue, let's change this to an add. So it's going to be an add a negative 4y minus a 20. Now if I were to group them, I can group those two terms and those two terms, and it's a plus in the middle. This plus does not affect the distribution of those two terms afterwards. So what can we factor out? What's common to this term right here? It looks like there's an x that's common to both of these. So factor out an x, and then what's left is a y plus a 5. Then this other one, I'm going to factor out, I have a negative as my leading coefficient, so I'm going to factor out a negative 4. And then what's left? Looks like it's going to be a y and a positive 5. So doing that now, I was able to group my factors in such a way that it produced two terms, each with a common factor of y plus 5. So let's factor that out. And then what's left is this x minus a 4. And I can verify this by multiplying this back out through FOIL. Y times x produces an xy. Outers is a minus 4y. Inners is a positive 5x. Outers is a negative 20. Does that look like what I began with? Yep. I just had those middle terms turned around, but it's the same problem. So grouping by factoring will take practice. It will take time to identify how you want to group, and then from there, what is the right number to factor out, especially when there's that negative there that's involved. Now, do you always have to group it in this particular way? What if I wanted to group xy plus 5x? We'll do it plus a negative 4y minus a 20. Do I always have to group the first two terms and the last two terms? No, you don't. But you want to look ahead to see if your groupings do factor something out. If they don't factor something out in the original form, rearrange the terms until you do find something that factors out of both sets. All right, how are you guys feeling? Feeling good? All right, you guys are doing great. Keep up the good work.